Imagine sitting by a fire in a great wooden hall. The night is cold, but the room is warm and full of people. Someone stands near the flames, ready to speak. The crowd grows quiet. Then the storyteller begins a tale, one filled with monsters, battles, and a brave hero named Beowulf. This is how stories were shared long ago, passed from one voice to another before books were written. And Beowulf is one of the oldest and most famous stories of all. Beowulf is an ancient tale from the time of the Anglo-Saxons, a group of people who lived in England over 1,000 years ago. The story was passed down for many years before it was finally written in Old English around the year 700 or 800 CE. The only surviving copy of the story was written by a monk in a large book called a manuscript. That copy still exists today, and it is kept in the British Library in London. Even though it was written in England, the story of Beowulf takes place in places we now call Denmark and Sweden. That's because the people who told the story were descended from tribes who came from that part of the world. Beowulf was part of their tradition, an old tale that helped teach lessons about bravery, loyalty, and strength. The story begins with a kingdom in danger. In a land called Denmark, a king named Hrothgar has built a beautiful hall called Heorot. This is where his warriors gather to feast, sing, and celebrate. But nearby, in the darkness, a monster named Grendel grows angry. Grendel hates the sound of music and joy. One night, he attacks the hall, grabbing warriors and dragging them away. No one can stop him. Far away, in the land of the Geats, now southern Sweden, a strong young warrior named Beowulf hears about the trouble. He sails across the sea with his men to help. When Beowulf arrives, he promises to fight Grendel with no weapons, just his bare hands. That night, when Grendel comes again, Beowulf is ready. He grabs the monster and wrestles him with great strength. Grendel tries to escape, but Beowulf tears off his arm. Grendel runs away and soon dies in his cave. The people are filled with joy. Beowulf is a hero, but the danger is not over. Grendel's mother, another terrible monster, comes to avenge her son. Beowulf follows her to a dark lake and dives into the water to find her. They battle deep beneath the surface, and with the help of a magic sword, Beowulf defeats her too. Beowulf returns home to the land of the Geats. He becomes a wise and noble king. For many years he rules in peace. But when he is an old man, one last danger rises. A dragon guarding a treasure deep in the earth is awakened. The dragon begins to burn villages and destroy the land. Beowulf knows it is his duty to face the beast, even in old age. In his final battle, Beowulf kills the dragon, but he is badly wounded. As he dies, he asks his people to build a great tower by the sea, so sailors will remember his name. His people mourn their hero and honor his memory. The story of Beowulf is more than just an adventure. It is a poem that speaks of honor, courage, and sacrifice. In those times, stories were not only meant to entertain, they were meant to teach. Beowulf shows us what it meant to be a true hero in the eyes of the Anglo-Saxons. He was brave, loyal to his people, and willing to face danger to protect others. For hundreds of years, the story of Beowulf was forgotten. The only surviving manuscript was nearly lost in a fire in 1731. Luckily, it was saved, though parts were damaged. In the 1800s, scholars began to study it again, and people realized how special it was. Since then, Beowulf has been translated into many languages and is now read by students all over the world. The poem is also important because it helps us understand how people lived and thought in the early Middle Ages. Through Beowulf, we learn about the values of the time: bravery, honor, loyalty, and strength. We also learn how stories were shared. Instead of books or movies, people gathered to listen to tales told by bards or poets called scops. These storytellers kept history alive with their words. Even today, Beowulf continues to inspire. Writers, filmmakers, and artists have used parts of the story to create new books, movies, and comics. The tale of a lone hero facing great danger is something that still captures our imagination. Beowulf reminds us that stories have power, that they can live for centuries and still speak to us. So the next time you read a story about a hero fighting a monster or protecting their people, think of Beowulf. Think of the voices that carried the story from one generation to the next, keeping the tale alive. Beowulf may be an old poem, but the courage and heart at its center are just as strong today as they were over 1,000 years ago.